AITA for firmly telling my mom that my daughter will never be named after her daughter? Story 1. Before I was born, my parents had a daughter, my sister. She died when she was 2 while mom was pregnant with me. Ever since the death, my mom has been stuck in grief and has been unable to move on in a healthy way. My dad bailed when I was a baby, and the relationship with my mom was rough. Growing up, I heard all about the sister who died before I was born. My mom would have us in extreme mourning on the anniversary, my sister's birthday, and the anniversary of the day she found out she was pregnant. She'd pull me out of school and I couldn't do anything those days. We didn't celebrate Christmas because mom said there was nothing worth celebrating without her. Mom would get upset if I wanted to celebrate my birthday. Then she'd throw parties and have photos of my sister displayed around the house and yard for everyone in attendance to see her. She told me it was also a way for me to have my sister at my birthday parties. Whenever I had friends over, she would talk an obsessive amount about my sister. She made them so uncomfortable. I started dating my wife as a teenager. I did my best to keep her away from mom. The first time they met, mom talked about my sister the whole time, showed off her baby pictures and home movies of her, and spoke nothing about me. My wife asked what I was like as a baby and asked to see photos of me, but mom couldn't stop talking about her most precious little girl. When I moved out of my mom's house, our relationship strained more because I refused to stop my life on those 3 days anymore, and I also started to celebrate Christmas. Mom was so mad. She yelled at me down the phone that I was a monster, and how could I care so little about my sister being dead? I shouldn't be able to act like those days are normal days, or like we have anything to be happy about at Christmas. We were very low contact for a few years, and then she reached out to me, and we talked, and I told her she needed to get help, because I could not live like that anymore, and I couldn't live with feeling like I didn't matter to her. She apologized and promised she would be better, and she was. Until now. My wife and I are expecting a baby girl, and a few days ago my mom declared that she couldn't wait to meet baby Ella. Ella being my sister's name. I told her we weren't using the name, and mom freaked. She told me I couldn't possibly have a little girl and not name her after my sister. She told me Ella deserved to be honored and remembered, and how could I do this to her and to my sister, and where was the love for my sister? I told her to stop. She said I had to use the name, and she would tell my wife the same thing. Her daughter deserved that. I told her I will never name my daughter after hers, and after seeing her reaction to me not using the name Ella, that I regretted us getting back in touch because she will never stop wanting everything to revolve around that loss. My mom called me an evil bastard for wanting to erase my sister. AITA? Our advice. Based on your story, you are definitely not the asshole NTA in this situation. Your mother's behavior has been emotionally manipulative and damaging, and it's completely reasonable for you to set boundaries, especially when it comes to naming your own child. Here are a few points to consider and potential steps you can take moving forward. Your mother's grief. It's clear that your mother has struggled with unresolved grief over the loss of your sister. However, her way of coping has been unhealthy and has negatively impacted your life. You are not responsible for managing her grief or for making decisions solely to appease her emotional needs. Setting boundaries. It's important to continue setting firm boundaries with your mother. Naming your child is a deeply personal decision for you and your wife, and your mother's insistence that you name your daughter after your deceased sister is crossing a line. Your child is not a replacement for your sister, and you have every right to choose a name that feels right for your new family. Seeking support. Encourage your mother to seek professional help to cope with her grief in a healthier way. Suggest therapy or counseling where she can work through her emotions and learn to find healing without imposing her needs onto you and your family. Communicate clearly. Reiterate to your mother that your decision on naming your child is final and not up for negotiation. Explain calmly and firmly that while you understand her desire to honor your sister's memory, this is a separate and new chapter in your life with your own family. Protect your family. Your priority is now your own family, including your wife and your soon-to-be-born daughter. Protect them from your mother's potentially overwhelming and intrusive behavior. Your mother needs to understand and respect that you are creating your own family traditions and identities. First comment. NTA 100%. My wife asked what I was like as a baby and asked to see photos of me, but mom couldn't stop talking about her most precious little girl. This was utterly unfair of your mom. She went through a terrible loss, but she should have found joy in having you. Instead, she let her unresolved grief cast a shadow over an innocent child. My mom called me an evil bastard for wanting to erase my sister. It's probably time to go and see with her. She mustn't be allowed to do the same thing to your baby that she did to you. Continue to celebrate, enjoy things with your wife. Naming your baby is your choice, hers. Congratulations. Second comment. NTA. It's time to go no contact with your mom. She's got some serious MH issues she is not addressing, and it will never not be a topic of discussion with her. Please don't give your mom access to your child. She doesn't sound well enough to not associate that child with her lost child. This could get ugly fast based on her reactions. Do what's safe and right by your wife and child. Cut ties with your mom until she can get the help she desperately needs. I'm so sorry you went through this as a child. I do hope you've sought counseling to deal with it. Story 2. AITA for telling my wife that yes, my job is more important than hers, since without my job we couldn't afford this life. My wife works at a college housing. She is the person you get in touch if you have dorm issues and stuff like that. Overall, she don't make much, and due to this she only pays for our groceries. We would actually be saving money if she was SOM instead of putting our youngest in daycare. So I pay for everything else basically. We have a nice home and roots are planted in our area. My job is good and I am moving up the ladder. The issue started when she wanted to switch jobs. At first I was okay with this since she wasn't thrilled about her job. This changed when she was applied to other school outside of our state. She got a job a few states over that will allow her to move up the ladder. Even if she got a promotion on the spot, it wouldn't be anywhere close to what I am bringing in now. She told me she wants to take the job and I told her no, that it's a horrible idea. This started an argument. We arguing back and forth and she kept saying my job is more important. I snapped and told her yes, my job is more important than hers, that my job is the only reason we can afford this quality of life. She called me a jerk and isn't speaking to me at the moment. I have a license to do my job. I most likely will not be able to practice in another state unless I get another license. So yes, there is a good chance I will not find a job if we move for a while. Our advice. It sounds like you're dealing with a challenging situation. It's important to acknowledge that both you and your wife's jobs contribute to your family's well-being in different ways. It's understandable that tensions arose during this discussion, but here are a few things to consider moving forward. Value of contributions. While it's true that your job may currently contribute more financially to your lifestyle, it's essential to recognize the value of your wife's work. Her job may not pay as much, but it's still a significant contribution to your household. It's important not to undermine her efforts or the importance of her role. Communication and compromise. It's crucial to communicate openly and respectfully with your wife about your concerns regarding relocating for her job. Listen to her reasons for wanting to pursue this opportunity and share your concerns about the potential challenges for your career if you were to move. Try to find a compromise that works for both of you, considering each other's career aspirations and the impact on your family. Long-term planning. Explore all options and potential outcomes together. Discuss the feasibility of maintaining your career or finding opportunities in the new location. Research what it would take for you to practice in another state, including licensing requirements and potential job opportunities. Seeking professional guidance if needed. Consider seeking advice from a financial planner or career counselor who can provide objective insights into the financial and career implications of such a move. This could help both of you make a more informed decision. Respect and empathy. Finally, prioritize respect and empathy in your conversations with your wife. Validate each other's feelings and perspectives, even if you ultimately disagree. Remember that both of you are partners working towards the best future for your family. Apologize for any hurtful words exchanged during the argument and express your willingness to work through this issue together. Finding a solution that considers both of your career aspirations and family's well-being is key. First comment. NTA. She's failing this argument for several reasons. She is not taking into account the cost of an out-of-state move. Finding a new place to live, you'd have to travel there first and find a place, and probably rent for a year until you know the area well enough to decide where to buy. Not taking into account increased costs of childcare, potential increased costs of living, depending where you would be going from to, the time and effort it would take you to find another job, and so on and so forth. She is not thinking about anything. I've moved more times than I can count, and it's freaking expensive depending on your job and what country you live in. You'd possibly all be without health insurance in between jobs as well. Terrible idea with a child. Did she tell you she was looking out of state? Has she ever even said, I had to talk about the idea of us moving out of state for XYZ's reasons? Or did this just drop out of the sky? It's worth sitting her down at the table with a notepad and writing out all your typical monthly expenses and then showing her how they balance out or don't with her new salary. Leave your salary out of the equation, because at this point you haven't ever started to consider looking for a new job. Ask her how she plans to cover everything. Second comment. AITA. NTA. The fact that she was looking for a job outside of your local area within a reasonable drive without telling you is very shady of her to do. Unless a local company recommended her for that job out of state, she had no business applying for positions far away that would affect the family without first telling the family. If I wanted to transfer to another state via my job, you bet I would ask my wife for advice before putting in the transfer request. There's no way I wouldn't consult my other half about a decision that will have an impact on her as well.